Halito, Halito, Chimachukma. Come on in, come on in. Welcome to True Story. I'm just finishing getting set up here. I'm gonna wait for a few more to come in. If there's any more, just give a few more seconds. Setting up my lights. Alrighty. Halito, Halito. Chimachukma. This is Chief Steve coming at y'all for the third and final day of our festive celebration, Food for the Souls. All right. Very happy to have each and every one of you, those who are coming in, and those who are coming in late, and also, each and every one that's going to be on the replay gang. I appreciate each and every one of you for taking the time out during these last 3 days to really kick it with a brother and celebrate the goodness. Let me turn this echo down a little bit. There we go. Yeah. All right. To celebrate the goodness of our ancestors, man. The presence of our ancestors, those who have gone before us, and those who have, have transitioned to the spirit world. Like I said, during these 3 days, the veil has been at its thinnest, and that has allowed for the souls of our relatives and our ancestors to come through and have this time of communion and celebration with each and every one of us. So, for those who have taken the time out to acknowledge, and we've broke down from day one, what this is all about, how we get down and stuff, and how this has been a part of our traditions for thousands of years, and it still is, very much so, in a lot of prevalent places such as New Orleans, Louisiana, and also different, places around the country where our people just take time, you know. We take time to acknowledge those who have passed before us and allow them to be in our presence once again. And we celebrate that with food, we celebrate that with dance, with music, and with memory, storytelling, you know, allowing our future generations to know who their ancestors are, you know, and why we celebrate and why we do the things that we do, you know, why it's in our genetic code and our DNA to be the original in everything that we do, because of the trailblazers and because of the people who have come before us, you know, how they've paved the way for us to be here again, you know, learning the true story of our people. If it wasn't in us, this wouldn't be happening. You understand that, So again, I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And this is the final day. Although this is the final day, this will not be the last live. This is a new setup, a new format on the channel, and I am going to be using it more often. I'm also going to be doing the pre-made videos as well, where we'll be going more in depth into information and knowledge. But I'll make sure that I take at least a few days out of the week, or at least maybe one day out the week to continually go live so y'all can see my face. You know what I mean? Know that, hey, this is the same brother that's giving you the knowledge and the information. So I really appreciate this new setup that I found, and shout out to Chief Bartran that he helped me out with some good information and stuff on how to make these lives a little better and stuff. So shout out to everybody who's reached out and helped me with that. But yeah, without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get into the information. All right, I ain't gonna hold y'all too long. But like we said yesterday, We went over the TikToks and stuff and the different videos, the video evidence of our people still keeping these sacred days sacred. The and also we went through on the first day the history and the information of Hanal Pasan, of Food for the Souls, why we do what we do. So if you haven't already, make sure you guys check that out. Now, we're going to go ahead and get into the third and final day where I said I had a little video treat for you guys. I actually took the time last year, I believe, to go ahead and do some deep diving on Hanal Pasan, and then also it's mostly just going over the information that we went through on the first day, and then also it's a story time incorporated in that as well, and I can give you a little more detail on that story too as we go through and review and react to this old video of mine. All right, so again, thanks you guys for coming through, and without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into that. All right, so let's bring up the screen. There we go. Yep. Let's see here. Let's see, where is it at? There we go. Here it is. Boom. All right, guys. This is actually my first time running it back, so let's see. Let's see how it goes. My old intro. Let me know if you guys can hear this good.
Alito Chimachukma, this is Chief Steve coming at y'all with another one. Another episode of True Story. Now, before we get into it, I'd like to say, Yokoki, thank you to each and every one of you who have been subscribing to the channel over this time since our last video. We are now 700 strong, 700 plus strong in the community, and we are still growing. So, I just encourage you to continue to do your due diligence by liking these videos, putting that thumb up on it, and if you're new to the channel, make sure that you hit that subscribe button and press the notification bell, so whenever I drop these bombs, you'll be the first one to catch them. Now, we got a good one coming up for you. A bit of a story time and word of encouragement from me, Chief Steve, to you during this special time. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Alito, y'all, Chief Steve with y'all once again. So as you can see, we are in a very special time of year, a time for remembrance, a time for honor, and a time not for sadness, but a time for joy. And some people like to mistake this time for Halloween time. And if you already know these things, you already know that we don't do the Halloween thing. And it's even starting to become more prevalent amongst not only our people, but society as a whole, as so-called trick-or-treating and everything is starting to go down. It's starting to plummet severely. Candy sales are down severely. And that's just simply because people are not going outside and doing the trick-or-treating thing anymore. Plus, with inflation and everything, the prices and stuff, who really wants to spend so much money on candy and, kind of hope that kids show up so you can, give some candy out and stuff. Now, if you do that, or you do the trunk or treat thing and stuff like that, you celebrate those holidays, that's up to you. That's fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it as far as, hey, just know the origins of what you're doing and where you come, how it's being done. But and that has nothing to do with our culture and our way of doing. But we do have a similar, not similar, but we do have a celebration that we do acknowledge and observe as copper-colored Aborigines of the Americas. And today that is translated as the Day of the Dead, or as is known in places such as Mexico, Dia de los Muertos. And today we're going to get into the origins of Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead, and see where it truly comes from. We're going in deep. We're going to go deep into the true story of it. All right.
And real quick, like I said, this was more than just a day. This is a 3 day festival that we did. It starts on what we perceive as Halloween, October 31st, and it ends on November 2nd. It is a 3 day, 3 moons, you know, uh, three whole days of just the veil being thin and us just really celebrating. And like I said, the first day would be the day for the children. Second day is the day for the adults. And the third day, of course, is the day when we all come together. It's more than just family, immediate family, everybody from the community, from the tribe, from the village. We all come together and we celebrate as a culmination, as a collective, our ancestors, all the, from the children to the elderly, everybody in between, you know. But as you guys see right here, it's a similar setup like this. This is an AI picture, of course, y'all know that, just putting things together. But it has all of the details and stuff of what our celebration entails, and then also going into how they've kind of incorporated other things as well. So I'm gonna break it down. We'll go ahead and get back to the video here.
So let's go ahead and get into that. Dia de los Muertos, or the Day of the Dead, is a vibrant Mexican holiday celebrated from November 1st to November 2nd. It's a time when families honor and remember their deceased loved ones with joy rather than sorrow. The Day of the Dead has roots in indigenous traditions from the Aztec, Mayan, and other ancient civilizations, such as the ancient Mississippian, which was later merged with Catholic customs brought by Spanish colonizers. The holiday reflects a blend of pre-Hispanic rites and Christian feast days. All right, hence why they have it on the 1st and the 2nd of the month. Families create elaborate altars in their homes or at cemeteries. These altars are decorated with photos of the deceased, marigolds, or kempa, or what do you call it, simpashuli, or simpasuchil. I'm sorry, simpasuchil, which is the marigold flowers, little bitty flowers. I can show y'all what those are right now. Let's pause for the cause. All right, so when you look up marigold flowers on Google, just type that in, these flowers come up. So they're very beautiful, orange-like, goldish flowers. Very pretty, all right? So these flowers, whose scent is believed to guide the spirits, and also lit with candles to light the way of the spirits, and pan de muerto, which is bread of the dead. These are basically sugar skulls along with other foods and drinks of the departed. These things are used to celebrate the Day of the Dead.
Yeah, so these are the marigolds right here. Because I know you guys have been hearing me talk about marigolds for the past 3 days. And if you didn't know what marigolds are, these are what they are. These are what they look like. And I find it funny and a bit, it's kind of like, hey, think of that. A lot of these flowers that we see, these flowers right here in particular, if you've been to a funeral, you've seen these before, and sometimes they come in this color, or sometimes they'll be dyed in different colors, But yeah, these are marigolds, and I used to know them when I was a kid. I used to know them as funeral flowers. These are funeral flowers because every time you go to a funeral, these would be the flowers that are on the casket, or these will be the flowers that that are beside the casket or something like that, and then of course, when a cherished one has passed away and they're putting the person in the ground, they remove these flowers and then they hand these flowers out to the family, and sometimes the family throws them back in the grave, or you take take the flowers, to whoever's the closest to them takes the flowers home, and things like that. But these flowers in particular are known to have a supernatural scent to them. So they not only smell in the physical realm, but they smell in the spiritual realm as well. So that's what the cultural significance of having these particular flowers at funerals. That's the cultural significance of having those there. This goes back thousands of years. Marigolds are indigenous to this land. I know how think there was like a Bollywood movie called Marigold. It takes place in India, in which we know is Bharat or Hindustan, and we know that the original India is here. Known as India Superior, or Amerindia, and then it's different names, but it was known as India. India today, or Bharat or Hindustan, was not known as India until the 1900s. So for all that time before, when they're talking about India, ancient India, and we know when you're talking about something that's ancient, we're talking about BC era. So if you're talking about ancient India, we're not talking about the little country in Southeast Asia. We're talking about what we now know today as North America or the Americas, period. It's India, hence the West Indies. You feel me? So, but yeah, these are the marigold flowers that I've been talking about for the past few days, and yeah, I used to call them funeral flowers, and some may know them as funeral flowers. So, and then they do sell them around this time. They're the most prevalent and in season around this time, and this during our festive days, and I was gonna grab some, man, but you know uh money couldn't wouldn't allow it at this time, because we gotta prepare. Like I said, I gave y'all the spiel. I'm completely transparent with y'all. You know, hey, we gotta make sure we have food. You know what I'm saying? Going in next month and there on out. It's tough for a lot of folks right now. But yeah, definitely if y'all can, if your pockets permit you or allow you, get some marigold flowers. And even though the veil is closing, still, take that time out and get these flowers and let them, because these are going to be smelling, you know, all year round. You know what I mean? And I know that they're in for a season, but if you can get them in around this time, anytime that you can, and keep the ancestors in mind, keep them present in your thoughts, you may feel the presence. You know what I mean? The spiritual energy may be heightened when you have these living things inside of your home, inside of your abode. All right. So yeah, let's just keep on moving.
I'm gonna go ahead and continue. Calaveras, which are skulls, decorative skulls, as you can see on here, are made of sugar, chocolate, or clay, and they're prominent symbols. These are very prominent symbols. The calaveras are often brightly painted and used to decorate the altars of the deceased.
And then we also went into the symbol of the four directions, which is used in ancient times to decorate upon the graves and the sites of our transition ones. And then also, yes, the skulls are used. Skull sculpted figures, and sometimes they make the skulls out of food, or so it's the skulls are very prominent. And then also I have with me this right here. This is called a death whistle. This right here. This is the ancient Mayan instrument that's also used for the calling of souls, and also used to drive away, evil souls as well. Those that do not belong within the orbit. So it's kind of like a spiritual cleanser, a purifier, and it's an instrument as well. And this thing is pretty loud, but I'll show a demonstration of how it works. All right, if you guys have your volume I suggest adjusting your sound accordingly. Turn it down a little bit. Give y'all some time. I'm gonna blow this thing, but I ain't gonna blow it too loud. I'm trying not to blow it too loud, but just so y'all can get a sound of what it may, what it projects. If you've never heard a death whistle before, this is what it is. All right. So that's a death whistle. We use that, during this time, and we use it also when our cherished ones have passed away, you know, to give them a path, clear them a pathway to the other world. You know what I mean? So that no negative entities or anything will deter them or impede them on their path to transitioning into the spiritual realm. All right, and then also it's used as an instrument as well. You got your drums and everything. Like I got my drum right here. We got our drums and stuff, and we play music. And we get the vibrations. We lift the vibrations up. We get it high. You know, especially around the time, like I said, during a what you would call a funeral procession. And then also around this time as we're welcoming the souls back, clearing the path for them. It's all about welcoming them with open arms, with the warmth, the warm energy and of those that are familiar with them, and celebrating the fellowship. You know what I mean? So it goes deep. It goes deep, but that's what we do. That's what we've been doing for thousands of years, right? So here we go.
La Katrina, which is this young lady right here, is a skeletal figure that's dressed in elegant clothing, and it represents the holiday's playful take on death. This particular figure was created by the artist Jose Guadalupe Posada. She symbolizes that death is the great equalizer, sparing no one. So families visit cemeteries to clean and decorate graves. They hold vigils and they enjoy festive gatherings. Music, dancing, and traditional foods are central to the celebration. The holiday is not about mourning, but celebrating the lives of the deceased and maintaining a connection with them. It's a time of remembrance, love, and joy, reflecting the belief that death is a natural part of life. It's a beautiful, meaningful tradition celebrating the cycle of life and the enduring bonds with our ancestors. Okay, so now that you know what Dia de los Muertos is all about, you should know that although this celebration has been colonized by the Spanish, it is not a Hispanic or religious holiday. Our ways are ancient and they predate any religion on this planet. The Mayans, who are the ancestors of the Egyptians and the Mississippians, celebrated these days, and those ways are still preserved and practiced today by some of our indigenous copper-coated aborigines in the South.
Right, in which we went over yesterday, and shout out to those big engines out there in New Orleans, Louisiana, that's holding it down, that's been keeping the tradition alive, for these future generations to see, and now with social media being so prevalent and so, out loud and bold, it's just allowing more of our truth to come out. It's allowing more of our truth to be put in the faces of our people. So even if our relatives are elderly that have experienced the trauma of knowing that hey, we can't voice out who we truly are, and those who are still living in that trauma and are not letting us know, you know just due to self protection. I mean, the information is getting out there and it's being bold, it's being out loud, and even our elderly are starting to come out more and starting to get more comfortable with sharing the information with their cherished ones, with their younger generation. So, you know, and the big engines, the Mardi Gras Indians, the Black Masking Indians, as they call. Um, our indigenous brothers and sisters down south are holding it down, and they're some of the ones that are, we're the first ones that we see. We're the first ones that a lot of people see when you first think of a so-called black Indian, or you think of, you know, so-called black people being indigenous to this land. You think of the Indians in Louisiana, So I thank each and every one of them, and shout out to my brothers and sisters out there in Louisiana that's watching, you know. That's some of my subs. I salute each and every one of y'all for holding it down and represent, righteously. And y'all leading the forefront, you know. Y'all leading the forefront. Y'all keeping the tradition alive. And y'all are inspiring each and every one of us to go forward in our traditions, So big shout out. But yeah, like I said, it's not a Hispanic or Spanish holiday. It's not a religious holiday by no means. We had to mask it as that, and then with certain infiltrations and stuff with certain systems, it has turned into some of that. But in the original form, in its true original form, it has always been ours, and it's always been something that we've done, So let's keep on moving forward. We're going to get more into that information.
We have gotten away from these ancient ways and have been propagandized by the Nordic Christian pagan holiday Halloween, which I mentioned earlier, which, like I said, has nothing to do with our ways. And if anything, it's a distraction to keep us from observing the sacred time. All right? The reason why this time is sacred is because it is believed to be the time before the winter solstice that the veil between both worlds, what we know as the living and the dead, is at its thinnest, which means that our ancestors are able to manifest and dwell among us in their fullest power without any kind of extra help or supernatural invocation. They simply need to be remembered and acknowledged. Now is the time to speak with the ancestors, to give them honor and thanks for all of their hard work and sacrifices made over the generations in order for us to be where we are now. And where we are now is very significant. This is extremely important during this time, as we have entered into this new age of information, self-awareness, and rediscovery. All right. The Mayans celebrated the Day of the Dead through a tradition known as Hanal Pixan. This celebration is similar to Dia de los Muertos, but has unique elements that reflect our ancient culture and beliefs. Hanal Pixan translates to food for the souls in the Mayan language. Food for the souls. So, Hanal Pixan, food for the souls, sounds like what? Soul food. Food for the souls, soul food. You hear it? This is our culture. The Mayans believe that the spirits of our ancestors return to the world of the living during this time to visit their families. According to today's calendar, this would be between the 31st of October to the end of the 2nd of November. So that's around the time that, if you were to line the Mayan calendar up with the Gregorian, it would fall around this time. But it's an extra day in there. We're actually in that time right now. It started on the 31st of October, which is probably why they wanted to put Halloween on there as a great distraction, and then only have, for Christian purposes or Catholic purposes, only celebrate the 1st and the 2nd of the month. So they got, that's their own way of doing things. But it would be the 31st of October to the end of the 2nd of November, if you were to align the calendar.
And I found that really, interesting and quite, telling that they would make the first day of Hanal Pasan, the first day when that veil first opens, they make it such a evil or taboo day. They make it a day of you know, of evil. You know what I mean? Uh, from as far as from a religious aspect, October 31st. That's that day that they call that the Devil's Day. That's the Demon's Day. That's the Devil's Day. You don't celebrate October 31st. You don't do anything on October 31st. And if you're gonna do anything, you better be on your knees and praying, or be staying steadfast in your word, or piercing that initial piercing of the veil, that thinning of the veil, to where our people, our ancestors, are the spirit is most high. When the spirits are most high, you know what I mean, going into and transitioning into this period of festivity, of this period of communion. So I find it funny that they make it, really, really taboo, October 31st, and they put all this commercialism and consumerism in front of it to impede us, to distract us, to take away from it. So I'm with that being said, that first day has to be the most important day. And I know it's the day for the children in particular, but just acknowledging and bringing that observance in mind on that day, and getting your mind and your spirit, your soul ready to receive those who are coming through. You know, I think that's the most important day, the first day, you know. And so for them to make it such a taboo in religion, and then to over commercialize and and bring such consumership to that day, and bring so much negativity as far as like evil entities and spirits and stuff. Because a lot of people, let's be real, a lot of people don't trick or treat no more. But one thing that's really prevalent still is the horror movies, the scary stories, and the blood and the gore and the murder. All of that lower vibrational energy is force fed on us all the way up, leading to that day and on that day. You know what I mean? And we're just just consuming all of that lower vibration, instead of living in a higher vibration, you know, elevating those elevating ourselves to the most high, you know, to the most high vibration, and allowing to commune and fellowship with those souls, with the spirit of our ancestors that are coming through, you know, on that day, on that first day, that initial piercing of the veil, so very telling, very telling. We got to be aware of that now, going forward. All right.
So, families create altars with offerings such as foods and drinks, traditional dishes such as corn dough, stuffed with chicken, pork, etc., different meats, or what we would know today as what? Tamales. Tamales. And if you don't know what tamales are, you should know. But if you don't know, I'm going to show that to you right now. So I'm going to pause for the cause and I'm going to get to you. All right, y'all. So these are the tamales right here. You guys should know what tamales are. These are real good. And it's not just a Mexican thing. It's not just a so-called Hispanic thing. This predates Hispanic culture. This is this is Americano right here. This is Americana. This is our food. This is ancient American food. This could also be considered soul food, as it is a food that's eaten on the day of the food for the souls.
Yeah, tamales. Don't think, now don't get it twisted. Although we may be, from up here in the United States, a lot of our people have roots down south, and further down south, going into Central and South America. And then also, don't get it twisted, even our people up here, since time memorial, those that wrapping that corn up, rolling the corn. Shout out to We Know the Truth now. When we roll that corn, and we make those corn tamales, we wrap that meat up in there, put it in that corn husk. And then my wife in particular, she likes using the banana leaves. The banana leaves, holds that flavor more so than the corn husk. So incorporating these different indigenous plants and indigenous foods, that's an indigenous food. All of this right here is indigenous to this land, period, to this landmass. So this don't have no, this ain't no Mexican thing. This ain't no Spanish thing. Spain is all the way across on the other side. They wasn't fucking with tamales until they came over here. And then they want to Hispanicize it and say it's a Hispanic food. But it's not. This is an indigenous food. Just like soul food is an indigenous food. All right? It ain't got shit to do with Africa. Just like tamales ain't got shit to do with Spain. So let's kill that narrative, Ralph, right now. Don't be, don't be too sedity in your ways to think that, that's Mexican food, I ain't gonna fuck with that. If you like Mexican food, and damn near every indigenous copper colored aborigine that I know like Mexican food, okay, that's indigenous to this land. A lot of that food is heavily corn oriented. And what did we grow? We grew corn, we grew beans, we grew squash. You know, that's what we do. And that's what we've always done. This is our food. This is very much our food as it is our Americanos down south, as it is their food. All right. So if you indigenous and hey, then this shouldn't be a problem for you. And this is one of the foods that is celebrated and eaten around this time. Along with all of our other indigenous cuisines and stuff, and mainly food that reminds you of your ancestors. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it's mainly about. But yeah, tamales is just one example, of our indigenous cuisine. Don't be too proud to eat some tamales. If you ain't ate no tamales, you need to try some. Especially some homemade tamales, man. I'm telling you. And you ain't got to be Mexican or anything like that to really enjoy that or to cook that. You know what I mean? Just enjoy yourself. This is your food. This is your heritage. Don't forget that.
Hanal Pixan, food for the souls. This is soul food. Tamales are soul food. Okay? Particularly these kind of tamales right here. The tamales that are in the banana. This is how we used to get down. This is how my wife makes them too. And she has roots in the South. But she also, she uses the banana leaves to make her tamales. She boils or cooks her tamales in the banana leaf for the flavor, to hold the flavor in there. We don't really mess with the corn husk too much. You can do it with the corn husk, but the banana leaves, I'm telling you, the banana leaves go. They slap.
And you don't eat the banana leaves in particular, but they're used to hold the flavoring and stuff, to keep them in there as you steam them. To keep the corn and everything intact. The tamal, and the flour or whatever it is, the corn flour, to keep it intact, as it cooks and everything, and molds into a tamale. Keeps the meat inside and stuff. So, like I said, the tamales, the banana leaves is, for me personally, the best way to go. And yeah, my wife has roots out there in the South, in the Carolinas, going all the way down from Virginia all the way down into the Carolinas, and even in Louisiana and Arkansas area. So she knows very much about this kind of cooking and stuff, man. And she said this is what my people did. We made tamales. Yeah, we made tamales, and we wrapped them in banana leaves. We didn't do them in corn husks. We wrapped them in banana leaves. So that's just what we do. It's our thing. So be proud of that.
It holds that flavor. Something about that banana leaf that just holds that flavor together a little bit better than the corn husk, and it makes them a little firmer too. So it's all good though. But however you do it, just understand and overstand. Realize that, don't be ashamed to eat tamales. I mean, this ain't that's Hispanic. That's Mexican food. Man, you need to understand. That's our food. It's our delicacy. It's our soul food. That's part of soul food. We got brothers and sisters out there in Central America, South America. Africa just got corn as of like a few centuries ago. Okay, we've been doing this since the beginning. All right, so it just is what it is. But we're gonna go ahead and keep on with the story here. All right, so they used tamales, what we know as tamales today, and other traditional dishes, which you can just you know ancient Mayan traditional food. And for today, because we are their descendants, you can even say soul food, because food for the soul, food for the souls. So it's and they also have a traditional alcoholic drink known as balshe or balchi, which was made from tree bark, water, and honey. It was all fermented together, and it made alcoholic beverage. But it's like how we do now, man. It's like we get down, have some tamales and alcohol and some soul food and some drink, chicken and beer. You know what I'm saying? But as it's all in a celebratory manner. You know what I mean? We've been doing this. What I'm saying is, whether you are our cousins from, or our brothers and sisters down from Central America, South America, and even if the Niji on the mainland out here in the United States, and we get down the way that we get down, the way that we feast and we have festivities, is similar, and it's all tied into the ancient way of how we used to do things.
And I'll echo that again. Shout out to our brothers and sisters down south in Central America and in South America, the islands, the surrounding islands, and our North American, our United States Nijis, our Nijis out there in Canada who know who they are. We all have a different way of celebrating around this time of year. We all have a different way of celebrating, festivals, period. Like I said, every tribe is different. All tribes have different vibes, but one thing that connects us all is those ancient ways, and that's one thing that I'm going to share with you guys in this story here, that, you'll see the unity in our tradition, the commonalities within our traditions, and putting politics and identity politics and everything aside and all the bullshit aside, when you really just get down to grassroots and we just see, those who are indigenous, you can tell, hey, we may have a different way of doing things, but the core is still the same. You know what I mean? We still real can still recognize real. You know what I mean? So that's why I don't hold no prejudice against none of our, Latino brothers and sisters out there, those who don't hold a prejudice against me. Don't get it twisted. You show me who you are, and I'm going to believe you the first time. All right? No matter who you are, whether you be my blood or you be, somebody from somewhere else. It don't matter. You show me who you are the first time, I'll believe you. But if you an indigenous person and you indigenous to this land and you real recognize real, and the truth, and we celebrating how we celebrating, and you see, they got a certain way of doing things. It's slightly different, but at the same time, I know where they're coming from, because we do something similar, but we just do it this way. You know what I mean? That's the beauty, finding the commonality within our respective cultures now, especially since the great separation, due to colonization. So it's a beautiful thing when we can come together, especially around this time of year, and acknowledge our commonalities and fellowship and acknowledge and recognize and give honor to our ancestors during this time.
Okay, comes from that ancient culture. Candles were made to light the way of the spirits, light the way for the ancestors. The marigolds, or the simpasuchil. I'm trying to get that word down, but you know what I mean. That's the ancient Mayan word, simpasuchil. But it's the marigolds. They were the scented flowers that are believed to guide the ancestors back home. They use that scent to get back to the other side. It's just, it's all in the belief and the culture. And then they also have items that belong to the deceased, such as photographs and personal mementos that were placed upon the altars. So for ceremony, the families would visit cemeteries and they would clean and decorate the graves along, a lot like the Dia de los Muertos. They'll hold vigils and share meals, even share meals with the ancestors in the cemetery. And I've seen some of that sometimes when I was growing up. In Southern California, I saw that sometimes. I saw that a lot, actually. In the cemeteries and stuff around this time. I was like, man, what the hell are they doing out there? They sitting there, having a picnic outside and out there on the grass in the cemetery, and just doing it. But that's what little did I know they were practicing ancient ways. You know what I mean? Back then. So it is what it is.
And it's a beautiful thing, and I've never done that personally. I may do that sometime, maybe next year. Who knows? I don't know. But, I was thinking about that even yesterday. It was like, maybe I should go to the graveyard. I should go and commune with with my departed ones. Find them out there and. But I don't usually do cemeteries and stuff like that. That's just a personal kind of thing. But I ain't tripping. I ain't tripping on that. I ain't scared. I ain't scared of no ghosts. I ain't scared. You know what I'm saying? So don't get it twisted. I'ma do it eventually. Not right now. But yeah, let's keep on going.
So home celebrations, though, like, so some would be in the cemeteries, where their ancestors' remains are, and then some would just be at home. They keep it at home, and they'll celebrate where their altars are set up in their house, and families will come, different families come together, they gather and they remember and honor their ancestors. They'll have like a cookout or a reunion, if you will, and that's something that we can do today, something we still do today, and we kind of do that. We call them like repasts and different things after funerals and stuff like that. It's all ancient ways here. Ain't nothing new, ain't nothing foreign about it either. Anal Pixan was and still is a way to maintain a connection with the ancestors and celebrate their lives. It reflects the Mayan belief in the cyclical nature of life and death, where death is seen as a natural part of existence. So, I'm gonna share a story with you guys that was told to me long ago. I'd like to share that with you, my Niji. So, if you pause, we're gonna pause for the cause, and then we're gonna go ahead and get into that story. Alito.
All right, so they were gonna get into a pretty interesting story that was told to me by my people a long time ago, um, and it's actually a really interesting one. I ain't gonna hold y'all too long. This is the main part that I want you guys to listen to. So it's really interesting.
Y'all, if y'all still with me, make sure that you like this video, hit that thumbs up, and hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and hit the notification bell too. But yeah, we're 700 strong, 700 plus strong. I really appreciate each and every one of y'all.
And now we are 1,200 strong. Look at where we are today. Man, I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Y'all that are attending the live right now and being a part of this. And those who have subscribed and is going to be a part of the replay gang. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Make sure you guys like this. Make sure you guys like this live and continue to share, because it's been helping. It's been helping a lot, and there's been a lot of channels that have, grown significantly since I've started, and I've seen channels that have started before me and they've, catapulted to astronomical numbers, and I get it. I get it. Some of them, they know how to crack the code to the algorithm, and then, I'm still trying to figure it out. But, if you're here right now, you're listening and you're interested in the true story and what we got going on here, make sure you spread the word, man. Make sure you spread the word, like this video, share this live, share the other videos, check out my other videos, watch them all the way through, and just, if you're new to the channel, Or if you've been around for a long time and you haven't subscribed yet, what's holding you up, man? Just subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications so you don't have to be fishing around for my stuff, man, and trying to find it, and just so you can get in and tap in. You'll get the notification straight to your device, you know, on your phone, on your TV, your computer, whatever you're watching on. Hit that notification bell, hit all on that notification bell so that you can know whenever I drop a post, I'm going live, whenever I'm, dropping a video, or whenever I'm live, tap in. All right. So y'all do that. Make sure y'all do that. And then, Cash App right there, you know, Cash App is right there. It helps. Your donations are truly appreciated. And it's going to a good place. Like I said, I'm a husband. I'm a father of six. We're a household of eight. So time away from my family to do these videos and stuff. That's money. You know. So at the same time, this is still a pleasure for me. This is an honor for me to be on here. And if you find it in your heart to, show appreciation through, your monetary donation, I would truly appreciate it. And know that it's going to a good place. It's going straight into the mouths of my children. Literally. Like, this is, I don't have no room for guilty pleasures right now. We out here making it. You know what I'm saying? Just like everybody else. So, but shout out to y'all though for just supporting. Just your presence alone is power and energy for me to keep going and doing what I do. You know, so shout out to y'all again.
And y'all hitting that thumbs up button is really helping the channel. So keep on doing that. Keep hitting that like button. And if you just an observer, somebody that just watches, don't plan on subscribing, hey, that's okay. I understand. But since you're here, might as well hit that like button. You know what I'm saying? Help a brother out. All right. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into the story. There were 3 men from Central America who left their families to look for work and opportunity in the United States. They found it by working for a white man who owned a riverboat under the Louisiana Bayou. The 3 men have been working out there for quite some time, and Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead, was approaching. They began to feel homesick, missing all of their family and wanting so badly to be with them, to celebrate and give honor to their ancestors. They asked their boss if they can get some time off to acknowledge the sacred holiday and pay respects to their ancestors and heritage, but the boss refused. But on Dia de los Muertos, as they were sailing down the bayou, they entered into a thickly forested part of the river filled with willow and cypress trees with Spanish moss hanging off of them. Out there they noticed a group of dark-skinned Louisiana Aboriginal Indians, adorned in elegantly feathered regalia along the bank and shores, singing, dancing, and performing a sacred ceremony. As the men seen this, something seemed really familiar about it. Initially, when they witnessed this beautiful sight from the riverboat, they immediately fell to their knees with their hands to the sky, falling down and giving praise and honor in their native language. And their boss heard the commotion, and he immediately ran to where they were on the boat and questioned the men why they stopped working and what was going on. One of the men looked up to the boss. He had tears in his eyes, remembering home, remembering his ancestors, and seeing the sight in front of him that was happening. He said, "They are having sacred ceremony and celebrates as our people do. They are our family."
So, all of that just goes to show that, that we have similarities from the tip of the north to the bottom of the south. we have similarities. Our cultures, although they come in a variety of different colors, they come in a variety of different sounds, different frequencies, different ways, different kind of motion. But it's we can find the similarities between all of us, the indigenous ones. We can find the similarities in our ways, and that's what connects us as a landmass. That's what connects us as an indigenous people on this hemisphere. That's how we were able to go from land to land and create alliances and to create, a commune with them. Why do you think that there's pyramids all over the world? Why do you think that there's, traces of our ancient heritage all over the world? We were able to find those who had a commonality with us, that indigeneity, that aboriginal soul, you know. We were able to find and connect with those, and set roots in different places and establish connection and communion with these different cultures, because we were able to find a commonality, you know. And although we are the blueprint, and a lot of things fall on us as far as originality, don't get it twisted. There are aborigines all over the world, and what connects us is that soul connection, you know, that soul recognized soul. You know what I mean? And that's what this story, the main moral of the story was, and this was told to me by an elder a long time ago. I remember hearing this when I was a little kid, and it just was brought back to my mind at this time last year. When I decided, well, you know what, I'm gonna start observing. I'm just gonna start keeping this time of year sacred, especially since my kids been talking about, oh, what we gonna do for Halloween, and I see all these kids doing this, and I see this on YouTube and this and that, no, 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 no. But at the same time, you look outside, ain't no kids outside for Halloween. I looked on the 31st, I was outside all night. After I got done with my live, we didn't see nobody out here trick or treating, knocking on doors. And a lot of our people live here. And it is what it is. You know what I mean? Just like we rather go somewhere and do something with our family rather than going and knocking on strangers' doors trying to get some sweets and candy. That's just how we move. And so we're getting back as we go forward in life. We're getting back to our original ways, and I just want to bring it to y'all attention to make it prevalent in your mind, in your frontal lobe, that this is something that we've always done. This is something that's always been a part of us. This has been a part of our DNA. You know what I'm saying? So the video is pretty much done from here. I'm just gonna be closing out and everything and telling everybody thank you for tuning in and stuff. So we can just end it right here. But yeah, I truly appreciate you guys taking the time out. Like I said, taking the time out and really celebrating, coming and celebrating with me and my family, and learning about this true story, learning the truth about why we do what we do, why we move the way we move, you know. And shout out to you, Collecty73. Peace to you, bro. I appreciate each and every one of you guys that tuned in, that dropped in. I know we had a few that came in and dropped out, but hey, replay gang it's gonna be lit, right? Okay. So I look forward to seeing your comments. I look forward to seeing how you guys have, what are you guys gonna be doing next year? I'll be looking forward to seeing what you guys, let me know what you guys did this year, or how you're gonna be observing it going forward. Now that you know the true story, now that you see things and know things for what they truly are, you know. So I appreciate you guys again from the bottom of my heart. I cherish you all. Tata Chista, right? I cherish you from the bottom of my heart. And Yoko, thank you. Thank you for joining me during this time. I told you I was gonna wear my white. I told you I was gonna wear my white, y'all. So I came for the occasion. I was ready. You know what I mean? So we really enjoyed it. We had a good time, man. We had a real good time. But I ain't gonna hold y'all too long. I appreciate each and every one of you guys again, and we'll see you guys on the next one. All right.